automatically build a query that shows up on the bottom of my screen. And if I click Go, it will actually filter down on these records. Now I've narrowed the list to 53 documents containing our key search terms and in the month of June 2000. We can scan through the subject lines to see if anything sticks out. Scanning through the subjects, I see meeting notices, agreements, and this one in all caps stands out because it's a term that seems out of place. What's Blue Dog? Let's take a closer look and see if we can find anything that is relevant to this particular document. The first thing I notice is some internal communication between Enron employees about the subject of Blue Dog. What's important to note is that this email coincides with the sudden spike in data, so it's not surprising that this is the first LJM document. But this document doesn't tell us what the Blue Dog contract is. To investigate further, I'm going to highlight this portion of text, right-click, and ask Relativity Analytics to find other documents that are conceptually similar to this segment of text. In the Related Items pane, we can now see our results. We see some more Blue Dog documents, agreements, and then we get to documents that are discussing Blue Dog change order. This is interesting to me because when there's a change order, there is a substantial change or modification to an existing contract. Since I'm trying to understand these contractual relationships and how they tie to Enron, I'm going to go ahead and dig into this email. Based on the email header, I see this is an internal Enron correspondence. I can use my blue arrow keys to jump to the first hit. By quickly scanning this email, we see that ENA, Enron North America, is scheduled to buy turbines from LJM this week. LJM would like to have Enron sign this change order on Friday. Further down the page, LJM needs to sign approvals for modifications over $500,000. Finally, it looks like there's a request for Cheryl Costa to check her copy of the Blue Dog contract and verify that ENA can sign for LJM too. In addition to this, I can right-click inside of the document and find similar documents. What intrigues me about this document is the apparent conflict of interest between LJM, LJM2, and Enron, as there are some substantial financial decisions being made here. As you can see, by using keyword and concept searches together, we can very quickly locate documents that could help us understand the facts of the case. If I would like to refer to these documents at a later time, or make sure members of my team are able to see and work with them, I'm able to save them as a search. When I navigate back to my saved searches browser, I can access this search anytime, and if I right-click, I can email a link to the search directly to my team. Once my team receives the email, they can continue working on this investigation. In the meantime, I can configure other search profiles so my team can view data in other ways inside of Relativity. Does anyone have any questions about searching in Relativity?
I talked a lot about how the application streamlines to accommodate different reviewers and groups of reviewers, but I think it makes sense for me to show you what this could mean in practice. I'm going to log back in as a more basic reviewer, Reviewer 2, to give you an example of how the application can slim down. When I log back into the Salt vs. Pepper demo case, the first thing that's different is that I have fewer tabs available to me. Also, when I look at my views, instead of that huge laundry list I had as Reviewer 1, I now only have access to my checked out documents and my unreviewed documents, so now I only see the documents that are relevant to me. When I look at the left side of the screen, all of the different ways of browsing through records are no longer available. The case folders, where we recreated the mailbox structure, the field tree, clusters, and even the advanced and saved searches where we just came from. Each of these are individually securable, but when they are all secured, the entire browser disappears completely, and I'm not even aware that it's there. When I look at the bottom of the screen, I can see that the concept of mass actions has disappeared. It looks like they have all been secured as well, so this reviewer has to go doc to doc. When we drill into a document, we still have that visual reference to the kind of file being displayed, but the cursor no longer changes from an arrow to a hand when I hover over it, so I cannot download the original native file. The native radio button has disappeared, along with the production history. The concept of markup sets is now invisible to me. I'm secured to a markup set, but I can't see that. When I look at my related items pane, I no longer have access to the audit history or production history. When I go to make my coding decisions, the only layout I now have access to is first pass review, so I only have the decisions I need to make and the information I need to make those decisions available to me. I'm going to code 2 documents here, and I can quickly replicate my first coding decision by clicking Copy from Previous. Now that I've coded my documents, let's go back out, and what we'll notice is that the number of documents in the queue has decreased by 2. So it's been updated and the coded documents have dropped out of my queue. By limiting the amount of noise that reviewers see when they come into the system, we have found that new users can be up and productive in Relativity in as little as 10 to 15 minutes of training. This is the end of the standard demo. Did anyone have any more questions, or were there any other parts of the application you'd like to see? Is anyone interested in taking a look at Relativity Analytics or Relativity Pivot?